fellow Marks, and welcome to the Remark, the video equivalent of receiving a Bronco Buster from Mae Young. It's slow, offensive, and it's one of the few things in life that makes you wish you were watching an X-Pac match instead. My name's Martin, and I have a great story about meeting Rikishi on a movie set. Promise I'll tell you all about it right after I finish recapping RAW and Smackdown. This week, RAW started off with a boom.
Welcome, everybody, to Monday Night Raw!
Sorry, did I say boom? I meant to say booming show of affection for our number one hero guy, Roman Reigns. Roman is mildly bugged that the snidely thug Rusev and the widely plugged Seth Rollins stole his title opportunity last week. So Stephanie and Mick Foley emerged to try and sort things out.
We did come up with a solution, and it's of my own doing.
Yes, see, they both came up with a plan, but it's all Mick's doing. It was a team effort that he pulled off all by himself. Solo. Bewildering setup aside, I'm sure that Mick's punishment to them will make them think twice about ruining Mick's wrestling show in the near future.
So, tonight, what I will do, I'll take the two perpetrators, Seth Rollins and Rusev, and I will pit them against each other in a match tonight.
Gotcha! You see, Seth and Rusev thought that they could get away with breaking the rules, but now they have to wrestle each other in a wrestling match. A thing that they do literally all the time and get paid to do. But now they have to do it against each other! Holy shit, don't cross Mick Foley or he'll have you do the thing that you're supposed to do. You know, your job. Take that! Roman's deductive reasoning is irrefutable.
Her husband, Triple H, screwed me over. And I know I'm not going to see her coward husband ever again, so I know Rusev's back there.
Yeah, see, if you're never going to see Triple H, it stands to reason that Rusev is in the vicinity. I myself am very unlikely to see Triple H today, so logically, Rusev is hiding in my closet, presumably putting my linens in the Accolade or something. Stephanie guarantees that Roman will get a US title shot at Clash of Champions 2 weeks, and Mick Foley stands up for Roman.
How can the WWE Universe boo Roman Reigns?
Like that. Mick Foley somehow manages to demean the WWE network even more so than when he agreed to put his reality show on it.
I'm back in favor with everybody. I've got a reality show on TV on the WWE Network.
Speaking of underwhelming stuff, Mick Foley makes it up to Roman by giving him the exact same match that he had last week, except without any promise of reward or benefit. But hey, there's going to be a steel cage involved, so that should definitely satisfy any of Roman's gripes. You know, like the fact that he lost his title shot, which this doesn't give him one back. It doesn't really do anything. But never mind all that. What does one half of NXT Tag Team DIY think of all this?
Well, let's hear what the champ thinks about that.
Kevin Owens is miffed that Roman Reigns is getting shown all of this favoritism, what with the way he's not getting anything out of this match and all, and Mick Foley is on a tight schedule.
And now that we know what our main event is, let's start the show right now.
10 minutes into the show certainly does seem like a good time to start the show. Seth Passings rolls Kevin Owens on the way to the ring, and Michael Cole highlights this moment.
And what's interesting about that confrontation there is those two men, Rollins and Owens, will meet Sunday.
Yes, Seth and Kevin interacting would be an interesting confrontation. But instead of all that, here's Seth and Rusev having a wrestling match because they've been naughty. Michael Cole rolls his own Seth Tryings joke.
And now Seth Rollins is beginning to roll.
No, see, it doesn't work if the verb that you replace roll with is roll. Never mind. Baron Saxton takes the whole CrossFit Jesus thing a bit literally.
We've seen Seth Rollins come back to life in this matchup.
Seth Rollins performs a death-defying leap onto Rusev. No, not death-defying, death-defying. There are a bunch of deaf people in the crowd signing at Seth. Be careful, young man. That looks like it's at least 10 feet off the ground.
Seth, what are you doing?
No, Seth, don't do it, man.
This is nuts. Seth, you got a championship match Sunday.
No!
Rollins taking out Rusev!
Good God Almighty! He grazed him! As God is my witness, he is somewhat inconvenienced. Not to be outdone, Dana Brooke also takes a huge bump that might as well be something out of a Faces of Death video. Scott Aukerman comes out for a match, and Sin Cara is Spanish for jobber.
I talked to Sin Cara and he said, look, this is what I do. I fight. That's what lucha's all about.
Lucha being the Spanish word for fight. So to put it another way, Sin Cara told Byron that fighting is what fighting is all about. Turns out Sin Cara is also Spanish for redundant. Seth confrontings rolls Stephanie in her office. That's not a sex thing. They didn't actually do any rolling. Sorry, shippers. Seth suggests that Stephanie has lost her edge, and in the crowd, one fan seems to have forgotten that there's more than one brother in the world of pro wrestling.
I think it started with the return of your brother, Shane.
Bo Dallas is gonna be the main event, like no king ever was.
The tide has turned, and I've slowly learned that all of our bridges need to burn.
Except the Dragon Ball Z and Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridges, they can stay. Cesaro and Sheamus draw neck and neck in the best of 7 series, and the announce team simply draws a blank.
I talked to Cesaro weeks ago. He told me he understands. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's how you respond to trials. Oh!
And Michael Cole breaks character for a moment to explain how Vince makes the announce team watch Raw every week.
We're all tied up! We're all tied up!
Cesaro celebrates Mick Foley having a strong phone signal.
Yeah, now it's locked at three apiece.
Chris Jericho is here with a list of all his grievances with Mick Foley's management skills, which makes him a bad guy, because clearly you'd have to be deranged to think that Mick Foley's done a piss-poor job so far. Yeah, you'd have to be a giant asshole to point out the fact that Mick Foley promised there'd be less focus on management and more on the wrestling talent, and yet in this episode alone he's been the focus of every other segment. You just have to be a massive twat to say any of those things. Enzo and Cass interrupt Chris Jericho to call into question his relationship with Kevin Owens, and they deliver their own list of famous best friends.
Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson.
Shut up. Half those people don't even exist, okay? And Ashton Kutcher?
Ah yes, Ashton Kutcher, star of That 70s Show. A whole host of tag teams come out, including the Shooting Stars, who invite everyone to Puerto Rico, and the New Day, who offer to give away free iPhone 7s. I'm not sure who I should be more pissed at. Hey, you know what Raw has in common with the iPhone 7? They don't have a jack anymore. Mick Foley does a tremendous job establishing the importance of the cruiserweight division by reading from a piece of paper and introducing some of the participants in the Cruiserweight Classic, all except for TJ Perkins, but really who cares about the Cruiserweight Champion? He's only the guy who represents the entire division and will be defending his belt this Sunday. Eggs, bacon, potatoes, marmalade, yogurt. Oh, sorry, I wrote my shopping list at the bottom of this. Michael Cole tries to make up for Mick Foley's inadequacy.
Rich Swann is a very inspirational individual. This young man lost both his parents when he was a teenager.
I'm inspired! Michael Cole asks the real questions.
Who says cruiserweights can't throw hands?
Yeah, who says that? Seriously, who does say that? And what does it mean? Brian Kendrick wins the match with his trademark submission.
It's the captain's hook. He calls this the captain's hook.
Funny, because we all seem to remember him calling it something else less than 2 weeks ago. Kevin Owens takes on Roman Reigns in the main event, and Baron Saxton gives us a succinct and accurate breakdown of Roman's actions here tonight.
Here's the thing about Reigns. Like, we know he was screwed out of the WWE Universal Championship by Triple H, gypped at the opportunity by Rusev, but he comes here, he mans up, he doesn't complain, and he fights.
You know, aside from when he came out at the very beginning of the show specifically to complain about everything that happened last week, which is easy to ignore as it was the first 10 minutes of the show, and 3 hours afterwards, who even remembers? Roman and Kevin reenact one of the awesome Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens brawls with limited results.
Here we go, things are breaking down, it's a hockey fight.
No, it's pronounced hokey fight. After decisively winning the cage match, Roman Reigns is set upon by Rusev and Kevin Owens, and who should come to Roman's aid but his best bud, Seth Rollins? Which makes sense, because Seth has every reason in the world to care about what Kevin and Rusev are doing to Roman. Because as we all remember, Seth and Roman had a long chat and set aside all of their differences. And if you don't believe me, here's a clip.
Psych! We burned that footage!
Starbucking it over to Frackdown, and Daniel Bryan is hosting the first ever Women's Championship contract signing. And JBL knows the numbers don't lie. Except for when they do.
She was the #1 draft pick, and that pick justified the fact when she became the inaugural SmackDown Women's Champion.
Stock market expert JBL there, mistaking the number 14 for the number 1. Alexa Bliss commits a heinous attack on Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch responds in kind, chasing her up the ramp and causing all sorts of chaos. But don't worry, I'm sure General Manager Daniel Bryan will punish them severely by putting them in a wrestling match against each other. Oh wait, that was the whole point of the segment. Triple H is nowhere to be seen on this episode of SmackDown Live, so it stands to reason that Rusev is hiding somewhere backstage, and Nikki Bella performs Trin Magic.
My girl Nikki B here definitely has the glow.
Aw, Trin, it's so sweet.
It's true.
Dolph Ziggler sums up the new era.
I don't know, everything is different, yet it ends up being the same, you know?
And then in the main event, Dean Ambrose pins John Cena clean in a one-on-one match on SmackDown. So obviously the announcers treat it like it's about as noteworthy as the release of the straight-to-DVD WWE movie Interrogation starring Adam Copeland, which is so noteworthy that I completely forgot what I even just said. Anyway, now for my story about meeting Rikishi on that movie set.